I knew something was wrong the moment the waiter set down the extra two menus across from me, the polished silverware glinting under the soft amber lights of the restaurant. They looked like ghosts of a celebration that wasn't going to happen. My 29th birthday dinner, a table set for three. But only I sat there. The room smelled of roasted garlic and baked rosemary bread. Laughter floated from other tables like warm, effortless breezes. Couples leaned in close, families clinked glasses, and at the center of it all, I sat alone, checking my phone every 30 seconds, pretending not to look desperate. It was exactly 8:12 p.m. when my phone buzzed. For a split second, my heart lifted, a reflex I developed after a lifetime of craving the smallest crumbs of affection. Then I saw the message. Mom, you're not our priority right now. Something came up. Celebrate without us. No explanation. No apology. Just a sentence sharp enough to slice through bone. My fingers trembled as I reread it, my pulse pounding like a bruise under my skin. I stared at those words until they blurred into a gray haze on the screen. The chatter around me grew louder, or maybe my chest was just collapsing inward. Not our priority. My parents. Not a stranger. Not a boss. Not a partner who'd grown distant. My parents. Suddenly, the waiter appeared beside me, holding a wine bottle with a polite, hopeful smile. Will the rest of your party be joining soon, miss? I opened my mouth to respond, but my throat clenched shut. I took a breath, shaky, uneven. Actually, no. It'll just be me. His expression softened with a sadness I wasn't prepared to see. Sympathy is heavy when you're already sinking. He nodded. Take your time. Let me know if you need anything, okay? Need anything. I didn't even know what that meant anymore. I didn't need food. I didn't need wine. I needed to not feel like a forgotten bookmark in my own family's story. My eyes drifted to the empty chairs. One with the broken armrest my father always complained about. One directly opposite me where my mother would sit and critique the world between bites of grilled chicken. Growing up, they missed school award ceremonies, debates, art showcases. Always because something came up. Work. Errands. People more important than their daughter. But I believed adulthood would fix the distance childhood had carved. Tonight proved I was wrong. I forced myself to stay composed, at least outwardly. But inside, something was shaking loose, a realization, a final crack after decades of hairline fractures. By the time my dinner arrived, the dish I'd ordered only to avoid crying in front of strangers, the restaurant was buzzing with warmth that didn't belong to me. I took a small bite, metallic with a taste of disappointment. I wasn't angry at first. I was embarrassed, then hurt, then numb. And in that numbness, I reached for my phone again. My thumb hovered over my parents' chat. I could type something. Anything. Ask why. But I already knew the answer. They always had emergencies for everyone but me. And then something unexpected happened. Another message came. This time from my older brother, Denial. Denial. Heard you're having dinner with Mom and Dad. Good luck. They went to Uncle Rashid's place instead. Don't take it personally. Uncle Rashid, my father's cousin. The man who never remembered my name, yet somehow needed them urgently enough to overwrite my birthday. My chest tightened. Not personally? How else was I supposed to take it? I stared at the glowing screen until the words twisted into something sinister. It wasn't that I was not a priority right now. I had never been one. My fork clattered to the plate. A couple in the corner looked over, concern flickering across their faces. I offered a weak smile and pretended everything was fine. But something inside me whispered, enough. I straightened in my seat. My palms were damp, my breathing uneven, but I realized something profound. I had been begging for scraps from people who never held a feast for me in the first place. My life wasn't small. Their love was. I signaled the waiter. Can I have a pen? And a small piece of paper? He nodded and returned with both, along with the softest, most reassuring smile. I placed the paper on the table, the white empty space staring back at me like a moment I wasn't brave enough to fill. Yet, I hesitated, tapping the pen against my thumb. What do you write to the people who raised your body but never carried your heart? My hand moved slowly, almost on its own. Thank you for the message tonight. It helped me realize something. You don't have to make me a priority. But I'll no longer keep trying to make you mine. The words weren't dramatic. They weren't cruel. They were final. I folded the note neatly and placed it beside the unopened menus, the ones that would never be used. Before leaving, I let my hand brush against the back of the chair where my mother would have sat. A small, symbolic goodbye to the childhood hope I had clung to for too long. As I walked out, the cool night air hit me like truth, crisp, sobering, unfiltered. But just as I stepped toward my car, my phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't my parents. It was a name I hadn't seen in years. Aram. The ex-boyfriend who vanished without a goodbye. The man who once asked me to marry him, then disappeared 1 month before the engagement. Aram. Saw you at the restaurant.
Can we talk?
My breath caught in my throat. What was he doing here? The universe wasn't just shifting tonight. It was cracking open something I wasn't ready for. And before I could make sense of any of it, another message followed. Aram. It's about your mother. My heart stopped mid-beat. About my mother? What could he possibly know? The ground beneath me felt like it tilted. And suddenly, I realized the night wasn't anywhere close to being over. For a long moment, I just stared at Aram's message, the words glowing like a warning sign against the dark screen. It's about your mother. My pulse thrummed in my ears as if the night itself had leaned closer. I turned slowly, scanning the parking lot. Cars idled, headlights glowed, and people came and went. But there he was, leaning against a silver Honda a few rows away. Aram. Older, sharper around the jaw, eyes darker than I remembered. His stance was hesitant, but not accidental. He'd been waiting. My breath caught painfully in my chest. The last time I saw him, he walked out of my life without explanation, without closure, leaving me with wedding cards half-designed and a heart half-shattered. And now he was here. On the same night my parents had cut open an old wound, and he wanted to talk about my mother? I approached cautiously, each step heavy with memory and suspicion. He straightened when he saw me. Thank you for coming, he whispered. I didn't come, I replied coldly. I just walked in your direction. His lips twitched, but he didn't smile. Fair enough. Say what you need to say, I demanded. I'm not here to reminisce. His gaze shifted to the ground as if he were choosing his next words with surgical precision. It's about your parents. And the reason I disappeared. A chill crawled down my spine. My mother? I pressed, voice sharp. He nodded slowly. Especially her. For a second, my vision blurred, as if my mind didn't want to accept that sentence. My mother, distant, critical, dismissive, but involved in this? What could Aram possibly know about her? Talk, I said, arms folded tightly across my chest. He exhaled shakily. Your mother told me to leave. A strange buzzing filled my ears. What? I whispered. She came to my office, he continued, months before our engagement. She said I wasn't good enough for you, that you were meant for a different life. And if I didn't walk away, she'd ruin both our families. The world tilted, the parking lot swimming in the haze of streetlights. My mother did what? He looked up, guilt heavy in his eyes. I tried to resist. I swore I wouldn't leave you. But then she showed me something about your father's business and my family shop. She had proof that could have destroyed us. Real proof, Aliyah. He swallowed hard. And she promised she'd use it. The air froze between us. My heartbeat thundered painfully, my nails digging into my palms. She threatened you? My mother threatened you to leave me. He nodded, eyes full of regret. Yes. I staggered back a step, the truth slicing into me like ice. My breath shuddered out of me. She didn't just forget my birthdays. She didn't just prioritize everyone except me. She actively sabotaged the one relationship that made me feel chosen. Why didn't you tell me? I choked out, anger burning with betrayal. Aram's jaw tightened. I tried.
Twice.
I messaged you, but your mother intercepted the texts. I came to your house, but she met me at the gate. She said you were moving on and wanted nothing to do with me. I believed her, because she seemed so certain. My stomach twisted. My hands trembled. My mother, who had just texted me that I wasn't a priority, had once gone out of her way to make sure no one else prioritized me either. Tears welled in my eyes, hot and humiliating. Memories flashed like broken glass, my mother judging my clothes, my friends, my career choices. Her constant criticisms disguised as concern. The unspoken resentment she carried for reasons I never understood. But this was deliberate cruelty. Aram stepped closer. I didn't come tonight to ask for forgiveness. I know I hurt you. I know I broke you. But I needed you to know the truth. You deserve that much. I wiped my face, but tears kept spilling like years of suppressed hurt finally escaping. Why now? I asked, voice barely stable. Because, he whispered, your mother called me again. My breath hitched. She what?
2 weeks ago, he said.
She asked me if I'd settled down yet. She wanted to know if I still thought of you. It sounded like she was planning something, or hiding something. I didn't understand, but it scared me. Planning something? The words prickled under my skin like thorns. What else did she say? I pressed. He hesitated then. She said you were getting out of hand. That you were becoming too independent, too opinionated. And she needed to make sure you didn't ruin your life with the wrong people. My knees almost buckled. Because the wrong people meant anyone who wasn't under her control. I stared at the dark sky, blinking rapidly, trying to breathe past the storm forming inside my chest. All my life, I thought her distance came from indifference. But now I realized, it came from control. Aram watched me carefully. I know it's a lot. I shouldn't have approached you tonight, but when I saw you alone at that table, I couldn't stay away. His voice cracked. You looked like you were breaking. A hollow laugh escaped me. I already broke. Years ago. A silence settled between us, thick and raw. Then Aram said the words that pushed the night over the edge. There's something else you need to know. Something she didn't want me to tell you. My breath froze. He reached into his car and pulled out a small brown envelope, crumpled at the corners like it had been handled too many times. He placed it in my hands. What is this? I whispered. Proof, he said. Proof of what your mother has been hiding about your father and about you. My fingers tightened around the envelope. The weight of it felt dangerous.
Real.
World-altering. Open it when you're ready, he murmured. But be prepared. It changes everything. A gust of cold wind swept through the parking lot, rustling the papers inside the envelope like a ghost exhaling. I looked at Aram, at the man who had broken me, at the man now giving me the truth my family never intended for me to have. My heart was racing, my chest burning with a mix of grief, anger, and something new. A rising sense of power. I wasn't the same helpless girl anymore. I wasn't the girl waiting at empty tables. I was someone who could face the truth, no matter how destructive it was. I turned toward my car with the envelope clutched tightly in my hand. And just as I was about to open the door, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was my father.
Dad.
Aliyah, we need to talk.
Now.
Don't read anything Aram gives you. I stared at the text, heart thundering. How did he know? And then another message followed immediately.
Dad.
Come home. It's about the will. The will? My blood went cold. The envelope trembled in my hand. Something was very, very wrong. The night felt colder as I drove home, the envelope lying on the passenger seat like an unexploded bomb. My father's message echoed in my mind. Don't read anything Aram gives you. Come home. It's about the will. Why would he panic like that unless the envelope contained something he didn't want me to see? Something powerful. Something damaging. By the time I parked outside my parents' house, my heartbeat was a violent drum inside my ribcage. The lights were on, too bright, too many, spilling out through the windows like a spotlight meant to expose or blind. I stepped out of the car, envelope clutched in my palm, and walked toward the front door. Every footstep felt like it carried a lifetime of unanswered questions. As soon as I knocked, The door swung open. My father stood there, shoulders tense, jaw tight, eyes bloodshot. He looked older than he had that afternoon, tired, frantic, cornered. "Aliyah, come inside," he said, voice unsteady. My mother appeared behind him, her face unreadable except for the flicker of irritation, as if my presence was an inconvenience on top of everything else. "What is this about?" I asked, stepping into the living room. Neither of them spoke. I looked at my mother first. "Why did you text me that I wasn't a priority on my birthday?" A muscle twitched in her jaw. "Aliyah, not tonight." "No," I said firmly. "Start talking." My father rubbed his face with both hands. "We didn't want you to know yet. Not until we figured things out." "Know what?" I demanded. My mother's eyes drifted to the envelope in my hand. Her expression hardened. "You should not have taken anything from that boy." "That boy?" I repeated sharply. "You mean the man you threatened? The man you chased away because you didn't approve?" Her silence was the only confirmation I needed. I stepped back, shaking my head. "So it's true. You destroyed my relationship." My father exhaled heavily. "Aliyah, it was complicated." "No," I snapped. "You made it complicated." My mother's voice finally cut through the tension. Cold. Controlled. "We were protecting you." "From love?" I asked. "From happiness? From a future I wanted?" She didn't answer, because she couldn't lie convincingly anymore. My father cleared his throat. "Aliyah, sit down. Please. We need to explain about the will." I crossed my arms. "Explain." He swallowed hard, looking like a man preparing to jump into fire. "Your grandfather left behind a large inheritance. Land. Property. Shares. But there was a condition." "What condition?" I asked. My mother interjected quickly. "That the inheritance goes only to the child who stays closest to the family, who follows tradition, who marries with our approval, who remains loyal." Loyal. The word hit me like a slap. "So, you controlled my entire life to protect an inheritance?" I asked, voice trembling with disbelief. My father shook his head. "It wasn't only the money." "Then what?" I demanded. "What else?" My mother folded her arms. "Respect. Reputation. Our image. You don't understand what family honor means." I laughed, bitter, hollow. "Honor? You lied to me, manipulated me, sabotaged my life. That's not honor. That's control." My mother's eyes narrowed. "You have no idea what sacrifices we've made." "For me?" I asked. "Or for the money?" Neither answered. A sick realization washed over me. All my life, they weren't raising me. They were guarding a condition, a requirement, a transaction, a daughter as a means to an inheritance. My father finally broke the silence. "Your brother already refused the conditions. He wanted to marry someone we didn't approve of. So the inheritance goes to you. But only if I obey you." I finished for him. He didn't deny it. My hands shook as I held up the envelope. "And I'm guessing whatever is inside this threatens your little plan?" My mother lunged forward, reaching for it. "Give it to me, Aliyah." I pulled it back.
No.
Her eyes sharpened with something close to panic.
Panic.
My heart dropped. Whatever was inside, it terrified her. I opened the envelope with trembling fingers. Inside were old documents, photocopies, and a small handwritten letter. The first page stopped my breath. A DNA result, dated 29 years ago. My father's name, my mother's name, and then, father. Inconclusive. Not a biological match. The room spun. My heart crashed against my ribs. I looked up at them, the people I had called parents my whole life, and they both stood frozen, as if the world had just ended. My voice cracked. "What is this?" My mother was pale. "Aliyah, that's not the full story." I stepped back. "Then tell me." My father sat down heavily, burying his face in his hands. My mother's breath came fast, uneven. Finally she whispered, "You're not his biological daughter." The floor felt like it disappeared under my feet. I was air. I was nothing. I was everything breaking at once. Who is my father? I whispered. She closed her eyes. If I tell you, you'll hate me. I already do, I said quietly. She flinched. The truth had become a weapon neither of us were ready for. My father lifted his head, eyes wet. I raised you like my own. I loved you, Aliyah. Loved me? I whispered. But never chose me. Never prioritized me. Never stood up for me. He swallowed hard. My mother finally whispered the name. A name that split my entire world in two. Rashid. My uncle. My father's cousin. The same man they chose over my birthday. The man they always rushed to. The man they prioritized every time. My biological father. A cold, electric silence filled the room. I stared at them, as if seeing strangers. Why? I finally whispered. My mother's eyes filled with tears she seemed too ashamed to let fall. It was a mistake. One night, years ago, we protected you, we protected our family from shame. Shame? I choked out. I spent my whole life thinking I wasn't enough, that something was wrong with me, when all along, you were the broken ones. The words cracked something inside her. My father stood weakly. Aliyah, we can fix this. We can explain. We can go through it together. No, I said firmly. There is no together anymore. I walked to the dining table, took the note I had written at the restaurant from my bag, and placed it in front of them. You don't have to make me a priority, but I'll no longer keep trying to make you mine. My mother's tears finally spilled. My father looked shattered. I picked up the envelope and turned toward the door. My father whispered desperately, "If you leave now, you lose the inheritance." I paused, then looked over my shoulder. I'd rather be poor, I said, then owned. I walked out, closing the door gently behind me, quieter than the storm inside me, but loud enough for them to feel the truth. I was done. Outside, the night air felt different, lighter, sharper, as if the universe had emptied out all its secrets and left me with nothing but raw honesty. I leaned against my car, breathing, shaking, breaking, but surviving. Arm stepped out from the shadows at the edge of the street. His voice was soft. "Are you okay?" I wiped my tears, lifted my chin, and whispered,
No.
"But I will be." In that moment, I wasn't a daughter begging to be chosen. I wasn't a victim of betrayal. I wasn't a girl abandoned at a birthday dinner. I was a woman awakening. A woman stepping into a life she would build with her own hands. A woman who understood, finally, that the truth doesn't break you. It frees you.